Hey guys, it's me, Greg at the Kalamazoo Nature Center, and I'm bringing you a digital creature feature for a very special animal today. And you get ready to meet our very own resident corn snake. We're going to learn all about the equipment we use while we're handling snakes, what we feed them, and all about what makes a corn snake, maybe how they got their name, and all sorts of cool facts about them. So let's jump right in. So before we handle a snake, it's really important that we wash our hands to make sure that there's no scent of any other animal on our hands that could either scare the snake or make it think that my fingers are food. So I'm going to do that really quick. Alright, so now that my hands are clean, we can reach into our bucket and we can retrieve our snake and get a closer look at her. So you can see, like I said, she's in her little pillowcase. I'll come around to show you. So here she is in her pillowcase. Nice and bundled up like she likes it. We'll come right down here so you guys can get a good close look at her. All right, so here she is. Like I said, she is called a corn snake, and they get their name because they used to find them in barns with corn, but they also, if you look at their bellies, it looks kind of like that heirloom corn, and it's got all those little kernels. You see that little checkerboard on her belly? So that's what she's got going on. Oh, she is wrapping around my little tripod there. So you can see her flicking her tongue out. She is trying to get a scent from the air. Snakes smell with their tongue. They pull all those little particles in the air, and they pull them back into their mouth to gather that information. So we are going to put her on our snake jungle gym so I can tell you a little bit more about her. So here we can see corn snake all kind of curled up around our snake jungle gym. She's looping back on herself. We'll go back to her face here. So corn snakes are not native to Michigan. This one actually came to us from a family from South Carolina, and they donated her to us after they could not keep her any longer. If you look, you can see she's got those beautiful markings on her head. Corn snakes are usually like kind of a reddish orange color, usually a little bit more red than she is actually, and sometimes they'll even have red eyes. So they primarily live to be about 2 feet up to 5 feet long, and this is a species where the males will actually sometimes get a little bit bigger than the females, which is not super common in animal species. Usually the female is a bit bigger. But like I said, the males can get up to 5 feet long, and they get to about 2 pounds or so. In the wild, they don't live very long, usually only about 6 to 8 years. But in captivity, the oldest one recorded was actually 32 years old. So they can get old if you take really, really good care of them. So they reach their full adult size and maturity at about 18 to 24 months. So just under 2 years, just about 2 years for them to reach their full mature age. Then they'll start laying eggs and mating. They usually lay about 10 to 30 eggs, and they usually do that in something kind of rotten just to help with that heat. So they'll usually find a stump or a pile of dead leaves that they can use to generate a little bit of heat for their eggs. Yeah, so their main diet is rodents and birds. They just kind of eat, whatever they can get their mouths around. Sometimes they'll eat eggs of birds or even other snakes, I believe. Their prey, they do not have venom. They're non-venomous, but they do constrict. So that means that they use their long body. They use all those muscles in there to squeeze their prey until it can't breathe anymore. And then they swallow it whole. So corn snakes are not at the very top of the food chain. They do have some predators of their own, including other snakes. They can be eaten by foxes, hawks, even skunks and other kind of mid-sized mammals will eat them. So they're not safe just by nature of being a predator. Oh, she's so pretty. I love all of her colors. One question I want you guys to think of, and I'll answer it at the end, is how many times a week do you think this animal needs to eat? How many times a week do you think that we feed them? All right. right, did anybody guess how many times a week we feed our snakes? So we feed our snakes once every 7 days. They only eat once a week, and that is because snakes do not use very much energy. You'll notice throughout this whole video, even though she's moving around, she's moving pretty slowly, hanging out. And remember, she's not generating any of her own body heat, so she is not using any energy to generate heat. And so that means that she does not need to eat very often. We feed her a couple of mice once a week, and that is enough energy to power this whole entire animal for 7 days, and maybe even longer, because some snakes in the wild can go up to a couple of months without eating. All right, and then we're going to take a look at corn snakes' enclosure. So you'll see it's pretty simple. They don't need much. Some water, some substrate, and what's called a hide. She likes to curl up inside of that little log. And that is really all they need, and she's happy.